This is Ian Camilotes, and this is Chatterbox. Well, I'm here at CEN today on day 3, and I'm here with Eric Maruscak from Pepper Inc., and he's just finished up his piece for this year. So could you tell us a little bit more about Blood Lad?
Sure. This is the chalk art you see behind me is 9 feet wide by 13.5 feet tall. Took about 25 hours to complete. It's for the anime Blood Lad, which is being released by Viz Media. And one of the reasons we did that this weekend is because they were announcing their North American voice cast for the dub release, which is coming out in the fall. And they wanted to do more promotion for it. Hence, giant Blood Lad on the floor of CEN in 2014.
Well, why'd you pick this particular image to do your chalk art? Because I know every year you get some options of what to pick. What drew you to this particular image?
This year was unique. This year I didn't get options. The Japanese licensors had a very specific image they wanted recreated. I actually asked to see about 4 or 5 so I could kind of choose what would work the best, but they said, this is the image we want you to recreate. So, and this happens. I've worked with companies where they're very specific. They know what they want to recreate, and they don't want to do anything different. So we went ahead and did it. I was a little nervous because, as you can see, there's lots of flat yellow, lots of flat white, and I didn't know how it would look in the chalk, but I said, we're going to make it look cool. So I did my usual 25 hours of work, and what you see behind me, it turned out, I think, really neat. It's very bold looking, so I like it.
I like it. You've got a lot of the light colors, and you still have a lot of the black background with the design in there. So you've done a few over the years. What conventions do you go to normally?
I hit up a bunch. This is my 3rd year at Anime Central, and this is becoming a regular for me. I love this show. I love coming back. In terms of anime shows, I also do Otakon a lot in Baltimore. I hit a lot of comic book conventions from places like, I just did the Long Beach Comic-Con for the first time last year. I do some of the New York shows, like New York Comic-Con, or I'm hoping maybe to do their special edition, but it's getting kind of close to that show, so I don't think it's going to happen. I also do video game shows. I've done Penny Arcade Expo several times, and I do some even trade shows. I do the New York Toy Fair just back in February doing pieces for them. So it ranges. I hit up a lot of things during the course of a year.
So what drew you to chalk art? Because this is a very unique art. Not too many people do it. And especially having this as a profession that people draw you to do, what brought you to chalk art as opposed to, let's say, ink art or even digital art?
Right. Well, I do traditional pencil, pen and ink. I do digital and all that. But about 10, 11 years ago, I was asked to do chalk art at an outdoor street festival near my hometown, and I really loved it. I loved the act of performance. I love this aspect, that everyone sees you making the art while you're doing it. So I said, okay, I think I want to do this more, but I want to start doing comic book art because I thought comic books were an underrated medium at the time. So I started taking the artists I like and the images they did and the iconic characters like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and doing them gigantic on pavement at art festivals. Well, those pictures got seen by directors of comic conventions, and they said, that's really neat. You think you could perform one of these at a show? I said, let's do it. And so the first time I ever did a show was actually 8 years ago at this convention hall, but outdoors in front. It was for the 10th anniversary of Wizard World, and I did a piece out in the front on the pavement. And that was the first time I ever did a convention. So coming back to the Rosemont here, to the Donald D. Stevens Convention Center is always like a homecoming for me because it was the first place I ever did a convention. So from that point on, I did more comic book conventions. At the comic book conventions, video game companies started seeing what I could do, and marketing companies who worked for video game companies, and they said, hey, could you do our video game art at a show? So I started doing that. At those shows, there were anime companies and groups that were distributing, like Nintendo and stuff that had kind of the crossover. They had the anime style and the video game look, and they said, can you do stuff for us? And then the anime company said, can you do stuff? And it kind of just has been going from there. So now I do my niche is kind of all pop culture in general, from comic books, anime, video games, and even a little bit of horror. I'm hoping to get into more horror conventions, because I just imagine the amazing imagery we could do for like a giant Walking Dead or something like that. So that's the next thing I'm trying to do, and I'm really hoping it happens.
Even Nightmare on Elm Street, too.
A big giant Freddy, like flames coming off of him with the claws. It would be incredible. I would love it. But it's tough, because if a show hasn't seen it in person and seen the kind of response it gets, they don't really understand it. They're like, well, you're drawing and people watch. I'm like, you gotta you got to see at the end the people who are, taking pictures and blogging about it and the interviews and things like that. And once they realize how much attention their licensed property can get, then I think they understand it and they start, having me do more stuff. So.
Now, for those who weren't able to see you at all perform during the weekend, how would anyone see, is there any chance for anyone to see any of that performance at all?
Yes, I record a time-lapse video of the entire piece. So all weekend long, my camera has been running, shooting a shot about every 30 seconds. When all's said and done, I have over 5,000 photos that I stitched together, and it makes about a 4.5-minute time-lapse video. Shows the entire process from start to finish, and it gets done about a week or so after the show. Most of the times I put them right on my YouTube channel, which is Pepper Inc., you can go to my my blog, which is pepperinc.com, and it links to my YouTube channel, and I put the videos right on there. I put them on Facebook. I share them all over. But this one might be a little unique because Viz and the actual Japanese licensors of Blood Lad have asked if that video can be on this DVD release that they've been announcing this weekend that's coming out in the fall. So I have to do a really quick turnaround and get them the video by the end of next week, and if it's approved, they're going to put it on the DVD as a bonus feature. It'll be on the DVD in the box set. So I'm hoping that works out. If it does, I don't know if that means I cannot share it publicly on YouTube. I'm hoping they have no problem with it because a lot of DVDs put their bonus content out online for people to experience to kind of entice them to get the DVD. So I'm still hoping they'll let me share it. So if you watch week and a half and you go looking on YouTube or my site, hopefully you'll see the time-lapse video that shows the entire process.
Well, hopefully we can see it too. So what are your favorite pieces that you've done? And to even extend it even further, I know you also, since you're doing all the time-lapses, what was your favorite time-lapse video that you've done?
The favorite piece I always tell people was back from 2008. It was a New York Comic-Con, and it was an Alex Ross painting of a redesign of Captain America when he had kind of a chrome upper body. And it's just a portrait piece, but it just, to me, that was one of the first ones I ever did where I thought I nailed it. It looks just like the original artist's work, or as close as I could get. And I really thought that was fantastic. So that one holds a special place in my heart. But that being said, I've done a piece for Nintendo, for Zelda, that I thought was beautiful. And the video, the time-lapse of it, I was able to actually use the Ocarina of Time music from the game to kind of use in the video. And when you see it all together, it's very nostalgic. It's really cool. But one of my favorite time-lapses ever was actually from Anime Central. The first one I ever did here was a piece for Madoka Magica. And that time-lapse, I got to use the theme music from the show, which is very upbeat, very fast. And for some reason, the brightness colors of the piece I did, the angles that I filmed, and the final edited video just synced up so nicely with the music. I love that time-lapse. And so I always tell people, if you want a really good example of my time-lapses, watch either the Nintendo one, the Zelda, or the Madoka Magica. And if you're looking for my favorite drawings, it's more on the comic book side, probably the Captain America or something like that.
I remember watching the videos on your YouTube page, and I was there in your first year where you're doing Madoka Magica, and just seeing how, with all those bright colors, that whole page, there was no black space whatsoever on that page, and I just loved, when I finally got a chance to see the time-lapse, that was really great how the music actually really, like you said, really matched up with the video itself.
I got very lucky with that, and it really just emphasized the emotional impact of seeing the work done, too, so I love when I can do that.
So what's the next convention you're going to, or next event that you'll be performing at?
Well, this summer I'm going to be actually doing a couple of outdoor chalk festivals. I've been asked to do appearances where they have a bunch of local artists doing chalk pieces, but they have me come in and do one as well. And I'll be doing those mostly in and around the Northeast, which is my home turf. I'm working towards shows like the Penny Arcade Expo in the fall. I haven't been back since 2010, so I'm hoping to go back this year. And hopefully New York Comic Con in the fall. Otakon we're already discussing for this summer, and they're usually a regular. Out of the past 6 years, I've done 5 of the shows, so I'm hoping I'm coming back this year. And then I'm just out talking to a lot of new conventions, trying to drum up some new pieces. I get a lot of interest from marketing companies that want me to come and do something for an event or a business opening. So we'll see if those happen, but those usually aren't so public. They're more performance aspect for corporations and things, and then the video, if I eventually do the work, the time-lapse videos will be the way people will see those in public. So there's a lot going on. We'll see what happens.
Do you have any advice for any aspiring artists who want to pursue art, especially some unique styles like chalk art?
Well, I would say try things you're not used to. Before 10 years ago, I had never done chalk art. I didn't even draw as a kid on the ground. I just didn't do it. I loved pencil work. I loved drawing small. I mean, everything I did was on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, and I wouldn't even fill the paper. I didn't explore enough. The first time I ever did this, I fell in love with it, and it's such a great medium. I never would have done it if I wasn't asked. So my advice is try things that are outside your comfort zone. Give it a shot. The worst that can happen is you're not happy with it and you go back to doing what you were doing before, but you may find those things that you absolutely love, that just strike you and take you somewhere. Well, here I am 10 years later doing work for Lucasfilm and Nintendo and ESPN and Viz and Funimation and Aniplex and all those companies, all because I said, okay, yeah, I'll try this chalk art in a street, back 10 years ago, and it's amazing where it's taken me. Never would have guessed it. So try the things you're not used to. Try new stuff. It's how you grow as an artist.
Anything else you'd like to let our audience know?
Just check me out online. My name is really hard to spell and pronounce, so I tell everyone just look up Pepper Inc. Pepperink. That's my website.com. That's my Tumblr. That's my Pinterest. That's my Instagram. That's my Twitter. That's my Facebook. You can find me everywhere online by looking up Pepper Inc. There are some other Pepper Inks out there who are tattoo artists. If you find those, that's not me. I haven't done tattoos, even though I've been asked to. So if anything else you find, that's me. Look me up. Watch the time-lapse videos. Drop me a line. Send me messages. Tell me what you do and don't like. I love to hear from people who like the artwork.
Thank you so much for your time. This is Ian, and this is Chatterbox.
Peace.